Thank you so much for joining us for our fourth panel. We're really excited to introduce to you a panel about building, growing, and scaling mass personalization programs. Paulina, do you mind kicking it off?
So happy to be here. So big thanks to Janet and of course Link 3D for organizing this panel. Thrilled to be here. My name is Paulina Perepelkin. I am currently representing Twikit in US. And Twikit is a company that enables brands to bring mass customization applications to market, to really scale and bring to production digital fabrication applications. And the fields that Twikit works in has been automotive, as well as some consumer goods, medical assistive devices. So anything from orthosis to some customized car interior parts and so on. Therefore, I am very happy to be here with this wonderful panel to be speaking about mass customization, mass personalization, individualization, and the value that it can bring with this digital fabrication technologies. So I'd like to invite the speakers to introduce themselves. And Alireza, let's start with you.
Hi, I'm Alireza Parandian. I work for Materialise at the headquarters here in Belgium. I have started working here about 7 years ago in 2014, joining the company to add value to its mission statement of enabling new applications of 3D printing that can enable a better and healthier world. And in doing so, I've been trying to build on the core competencies of the company, which is software for additive manufacturing, engineering, additive manufacturing parts, and additive manufacturing at scale, bringing them together on wearable applications, which is currently the activities that I encounter every day. As you can see, Eyewear is one of the key activities that I have. Everything from eyewear that can be made for fast fashion, all the way to made to measure eyewear that is done through end-to-end digital supply chains.
Meagan, please go ahead.
Hello, everybody. I'm Meagan Bozeman, and I'm a co-founder of Culinary Printworks. Sugar Lab is our e-commerce brand, so I encourage you to check that out at sugarlab3d.com, and you'll find the stock parts and pieces, the products, the sugar pieces and chocolates that we sell across the United States. So what I'm sharing here for the mass personalization, the Sugar Lab 3D website helps people understand what's possible, and then they reach out to us to create something custom or personalized. So here I have our wedding, a couple of products from our wedding collection. You can not only personalize, in this case on the left are bonbons, in the right are some chocolate elegant bonbons as well, but we can also personalize, customize the packaging. So this is an example of pieces that we might personalize, that we have personalized and customized. And really our mission is to make 3D printed food easy, accessible, and scalable. So our kitchen is based in LA, and it's the first commercial kitchen producing 3D printed food and shipping it abroad, across the country, and starting into other countries as well.
And I've tried those little bears and they're delicious. Welcome. And now we have Drew.
Thanks, Paulina. Hi, everyone. My name is Drew Marschner. I work at SmileDirect in the R&D group. So for anyone who's not familiar, SmileDirect Club is a company who is pioneering direct-to-consumer orthodontic devices, so specifically clear aligners. And we're here, the manufacturing facility is here where I'm located in Antioch, Tennessee, which is a little bit outside of Nashville. And we have, I think, one of the largest HP 3D printing factories in the world. And we're cranking out, millions of aligners pretty consistently and sending them all over the US and all over the world. And prior to SmileDirect Club, I worked in printed composites and electronics. So I've seen a decent breadth of the additive industry.
And next we have Sonny.
Hi everyone, Sonny Boo here from AREVO. We, there we go. We make large continuous carbon fiber composite parts, and so and we use additive manufacturing for the most part, but it's really a robotic, an automated robotic system that does the carbon fiber layup. And so whether it's a bike frame or you know, airplane part or whatnot, that's what we do. And one thing that's different about what we're doing is, you know, we don't sell our, we make our own printer, and we even make our own material and whatnot for what we do. But so we're not selling the hardware; we're actually selling the service. So if there are companies that need composite parts made, we do that. And to kind of show off what we did, we actually made a couple of consumer products. So we made we made a bike called the Superstrata that we put online, and you can actually go to superstrata.bike and configure your bike, and then basically you hit print, and then we will actually make the bike, paint it, assemble it, send it to you. So it's a direct-to-consumer brand right now. And so we launched that on a crowdfunding campaign, and that did pretty well. We recently launched a second campaign called the Scotsman, which is a scooter, an electric scooter that's custom made out of carbon fiber. So each one of these things are made to measure. So that's what we do. But we're a B2B business fundamentally, making parts for other companies. These two products were really just to kind of you know, demonstrate what we can do.
Exciting stuff. Thank you so much, Sonny. So I think the first question in everybody's mind, of course, is where everybody here is creating consumer products. And Sonia, I understand you're creating a couple of consumer products, but mainly B2B company. But as you're creating personalized consumer products, how do we make this economically viable proposition? How can this be a real business? And who would like to start off with this? Meagan, I know that you're starting off a really exciting enterprise with a 3D printed food aspect. So how do you bring a new business that is focusing on personalization?
Well, so you asked the question, how do you make it economically viable? And so really, you need to add a lot of value to the piece. And in our case, what adds value for people coming to us to create these 3D printed sugar pieces is that we can make their concept to final product very easy. And so they work with our designers. We can turn it around really quickly. As you all know, the value of 3D printing is there's no tooling. You can do it really fast. And usually they come to us with not much time before their event. But the most valuable thing is just how the technology allows us to represent brands in a very unique, memorable, and delicious way. And so that's what people want to provide the wow factor when they throw an event or have some product launch, and they want something to, resonate and stay with people. And so on that end is for economically viable is justifying a high price point. And then on the other side is we look for ways to be, to make our costs as low as possible, as efficient as possible, fill up a whole print bed with small pieces. So there are a lot of create stock designs that can be easily and quickly personalized and customized. So to speed the process up and reduce costs. So there are ways to go on both ends to make that economically viable.
That's a great point. And Alireza, I'll go to you next. What do you think about that, creating a wow factor and adding an additional value while maintaining an economically sound system?
Well, I think making it I think you have to look at whether your business is B2B or B2C. But in my case, what we have to do is we have to solve problems for the businesses that make eyewear. The biggest problem on the book of managers in the fashion industry is sustainability. And one of the biggest problems that they are faced in eyewear production is waste. Waste in the sense of subtractive manufacturing is producing 70% waste directly on material subtraction. On the other hand, you have the problem of overproduction as well. So because, in fashion, you don't know what will work, you have to overproduce and hope that it works well. And additive manufacturing really solves some problems, so it makes it really economically viable for those companies that are producing fashionable products as well. But on the consumer side, what we are providing is experiences. And that's experiences of being able to be a part of designing a product that you will own. And obviously the creating of the wow factor on the one hand is you want to create beautiful things. You want to create wearable sculptures, by the way. But it could also be as simple as, can I engrave my name on the product that I own, so that when I sit with my family during a dinner with my grandma, I can tell them that this product was personally made for me. So that could be the wow factor. And those are the kind of things in terms of experiences that we're trying to create for the end consumer that makes it economically interesting for them to invest in the product.
Oh, that's a great point, and different aspects to this wow factors of maintaining sustainability and so on. And Drew, you come from a very different perspective as well, because you, of course, are more focused on medical devices. What is your take on this?
Yeah, so I mean, I think for SmileDirect, we basically 3D printing is the most economical. There's not really a cheaper way to do it right now, because everyone's dentition is differently. And it would be great if everyone had the same dentition, right? Because then we could just have like a couple metal molds, and it would be even cheaper, like way cheaper. But that's just not, we're inherently extremely customized, and that's not going to change. So I think the trick for us has been identifying the cheapest possible material, printing combination that can scale well. And yeah, it's funny, Alireza, you mentioned waste, but we actually do produce a lot of waste, because every single thermoform is thrown away, basically. I mean, it's not actually thrown away. We do have a partnership with Ford where they're recycled into pellets. So that's pretty cool. But we're still producing a lot of printed parts that are only like single-use items, really, ultimately, at the end of the day. But the way we bring down costs more, there's still labor, and that's a significant portion of cost. So always trying to add more automation. And so the cool part is, for our operation, 3D printing is like basically fully automated now. That's like the lowest labor area of the production process. So it really isn't a big cost like some of the other areas are right now.
That's very cool. That's an interesting operational advantage as well.
Yeah.
But I would like to backtrack a little bit to what Alireza was saying, and that is the aspect of co-creation, of really getting an end customer involved in the creation of the products for your business, essentially. And I was wondering if you guys could talk a little bit more about that co-creation. Are customers doing a good job? Do customers actually know what they want? Are customers doing a good job of co-creating? Or is it something that is still very much a dream, where the brands feel the responsibility to tell customers what the best product would be? Whoever would like to jump in first.
So in our case, it's actually pretty rare for anybody, the chefs or event planners, to come to us and know exactly what they want. They understand a little bit about what's possible because they went to sugarlab3d.com and discovered us, but then they come and say, hey, I've got an event, and then they want to us to come up with some concepts, either from our pre-designed collection or working with our chefs and our designers, which our company is made up primarily of half chefs and half designers who can help guide them to what's possible with these pieces, what flavors are possible, and more importantly, what design might work for whatever the chef is creating. It's maybe been one example when a chef came and said, I want a hollow beet printed in beet powder so I can fill it with goat cheese, caramelized onions and pecans. Very specific, knows what he wants, and that makes it easy. We can do that. In all the other cases, it's very much been us leading them to the solution.
I can just briefly say that in our case, we are making tools for professional enablement because we want the eye care professionals to be able to provide the advice to the customers. In our experience, consumers want to have the choice, but don't want to make the choice. They love to be navigated through the choice. And that's what additive manufacturing can allow in terms of flexibility in your supply chain in the back end, and in terms of a front end that allows a better interaction between a professional and the consumer. Whether that is in the footwear industry or the eyewear industry, it really doesn't matter, as long as you focus on these experiences.
Right. Very, very cool. Sonny, I'd love to hear a little bit more from you as well. Do you involve the end user customer and the end user in the creation of those two products? Is there an element of co-creation there?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and building on what Alireza said earlier, and also mostly been inspired by something that Steve Jobs once said, and that is, knowing what the customer wants is not their job, right? And so the analogy I'd point to is, have you guys ever been to a Mongolian grill restaurant? It's one of those places where you pick out all of your ingredients and they throw it on this big metal grill.
No, not for the past year and a half, but yes, I remember those places.
Yeah. So great in concept, but I've never really had a good meal at one of those places, whether it's a Mongolian grill or something equivalent. And that's because, for at least for a while, I just wasn't a very good cook. So I think, oh, this sounds good. This sounds good together. Let's do it. But really what you want is, compared to like, a meal at, say, a Four Seasons or something like that, you just can't compare, but like what Alireza said, people like the option, like to have choices, or at least they think they do, but they mostly just want to be curated through a well thought through set of options. Yeah, so so that's really my thinking on it. And so what we did was we set up a studio, and so that people can kind of click through what they want, what color, what group set for the bike, and what kind of handlebars, that kind of thing, with a limited set of navigable subtrees in this search, right? But yeah, you got to be careful. We're not going to ask them, do you want your seat tube to be 27 degrees down or 28 degrees down? That's not their job. Right. So, but do you want it lime green or do you want, black? And if you want black, these are the color options that will look good with it, and that's it. So I think, including them and making them part of that journey, I think is important, but, you have to be careful about what you do.
Yeah.
No, that's a great point. So really focusing on creating a unique experience where the end user has a sense of co-creation, of choice, but is at the same time being very carefully guided towards a product that they will end up enjoying. So really kind of curating a very unique personal journey experience of being part of that product. And I'm curious, in creating that journey, does 3D printing become part of the storyline? Do your customers want to know about 3D printing? Do they care about how the product is made? Is that something that resonates?
Yeah, at least for us, generally no. People don't care about whether it's 3D printed or not. In fact, they might be kind of concerned that it's 3D printed because there's a reputation that 3D printing is a prototyping technology, not a real production, not a hardened, many decades hardened manufacturing technology like metal shaping or plastic injection molding or whatever. I mean, it's part of the story that we tell if people are curious about it, but they just want an awesome product, and so that's what we focus on. For the carbon fiber composite bike, we say it's a made-to-measure carbon fiber composite part. Like who all can offer that? And click, print. You get we actually don't say print. We just say it's a submit or pay actually, and then you get your bike in a few weeks. It's a pretty unique offering. And wait, how do you guys do that? Oh, we do this thing. It's called additive manufacturing. Some people call it 3D printing. Okay.
So it's interesting, Sonny, what you're saying. People do care that it's carbon fiber, which is a material choice, but people don't necessarily care about what the process is behind that. It's
exactly.
Kind of
care about the performance, that it's light, it's strong, it's carbon fiber.
Yeah.
It looks good, it rides well, great reviews.
And that was a really interesting point too, that maybe 3D printing can actually hurt the perception. Drew, is that something that that SmileDirect has come across against?
Not so much. I think, to be honest, I don't think anyone outside of the 3D printing industry really even knows how these aligners are made, and I think most of the customers really don't. Also probably wouldn't care. I mean, I would say that some people think it's cool, but I think that's a subset. That's more people like us, probably not the majority. But and I'm not in marketing, but there has been some talk of people want their medical devices to come from a technology-focused company, and I think dependent, for some companies have a very technology-focused marketing aspect, and right now SmileDirect Club really does not, and so we've talked about kind of amping that up before, just kind of show off of wow, we really have a super badass factory here doing some pretty cool stuff that most people just don't even realize. So I think there might be some benefit depending on the situation on showing people that you have a really advanced solution for solving their problem.
Interesting. And Alireza and Meagan, what about you guys? Is 3D printing a story that becomes part, a concept that becomes part of the storytelling of your product? Or is that something that you feel like is not resonating?
Meagan, go ahead.
Okay, well, it's part of our storytelling because it's a first for 3D printed food really to be out there and accessible. But do people really care? I mean, in the end, they still want it to taste really good. They love that it's beautiful. So we do use the 3D printing angle to catch attention and explain why it's possible what we're doing. But we anticipate that it's going to just become another tool in the chef's toolbox. It's going to become as easy as using any other baking technique or what have you that they currently do. And it certainly is not any sort of barrier. Chefs don't need to totally understand how we do it. They don't need to come see the technology. They just want the final product and make sure that it can. We work with French master chefs that offer it in their patisserie, their restaurant. They want to know that this is going to meet their standard, and that's the most important thing. And the fact that we have a 3D printing story to achieve that gets the attention, but it doesn't seal the deal. So that's how it works for us.
I fully agree with Meagan, and I work in the luxury consumer goods industry, and the term we use here is digital artisanship. How can we use digital technology and cater for the product that comes out of that production line that really wows the audience, and that's beauty is an emotional response, and when people see a product that is not possible to be made with any other technology, then the job is done, I have to say. And in that sense, 3D printing is usually part of the storyline, because part of the artisanship is also we are tuning the machines to be able to create perfection, and that is artisanship in its own way as well, and that is part of the shift in an era in additive manufacturing. I think we are moving from let's say 3D printing being used as a general purpose technology to 3D printing being used for application specific purposes, where all of that artisanship is also reflected in the products that we bring, and that's what matters in the end.
Digital artisanship, I absolutely love that term. It's such a beautiful phrase. But of course, the advantage of this digital fabrication technologies is that we can take an artisanal product, this digital artistry, artisanship, and bring it to a wider audience to really scale to production levels. And so the question becomes, how do we scale? How do we scale the mass personalization programs? What considerations are there to achieve that? And it's a big question, so I'm not sure who would like to jump to answer in this first. Drew? Yes, Drew, I'll look at you first because SmileDirect is,
sorry, okay, I'll try.
SmileDirect has been amazing in achieving the scales and really developing this like one of the widest reaching applications in additives. So could you maybe talk a little bit more about what it takes?
Well, it takes a lot of money. One, I mean, it's expensive. I think the first thing is you do have to prove that the process is it's worth doing an additive manufacturing process. Like again, at SmileDirect Club, for making any kind of medical devices custom per customer. Yeah, your hands are tied. You have to. So assuming you've crossed that gate with whatever product you're trying to then take to mass market. So you've already decided, all right, this is the only way we can do this. Then, I mean, I think that the biggest challenge probably, and it's getting easier now because companies are getting more and more aware of it and addressing it very, is kind of creating the full pipeline. So, maybe, and I'll ignore some of here we are, 3D printing is just the beginning of the production of the aligner. There's multiple other automated steps that are not, 3D printing, from your thermoforming to your trimming to scanning, all different kinds of things that, so it's a very large pipeline when you actually look at every single step that has to occur. So, but just looking at the 3D printing area, I think, it's really critical to understand material costs and know your partners very well on how that's going to scale. I think a lot of materials are still pretty expensive, and then machine reliability, that's something I think that has tripped a lot of people up in the past. And then the post-processing, it's everyone's least favorite thing, but that's where all the labor is, so that's where all the money is. And you basically, I think we're getting to the point where most systems, most printing processes are getting to be pretty automated post-processing, but it's difficult when you're making like a couple hundred parts and you've got some guys, in the sandblaster or something, just blasting away every day. And then okay, well, now we need to go to 100,000. Do we need 1,000 sandblasters? Like, that's not going to work. So, you know, and that is very much part specific. I think we're fortunate here. All our parts, even though they're different, they're about the same size and the same shape. So we've been able to take advantage of that. So it is challenging. I don't know if that answers the question sufficiently, but
well, I think that I think this is such an interesting application, and of course, from an operational perspective, growing and expanding an application, there are a number of bottlenecks that companies can encounter, and as you mentioned, materials and post-processing. But maybe there are also some things more on the IT infrastructure and connectivity between the different systems. Sonny, if I could call on you, because you are a B2B company who are developing a consumer product. So I'm wondering if you have a different take on some of those unique operational challenges that might come with scaling a mass customization program.
Yeah, well, I think you're hearing it from the experts first. I mean, folks like Drew are at the forefront of really finely scaled additive manufacturing. Same thing with what Alireza is doing, wearables and stuff. You know, because I can't really think of that many industries where the scale is close to traditional manufacturing. I mean, if you've, you know, been to a, you know, Flextronics line, or you've seen some of these lines making stuff, you know, before, you know, it's very different from the scale of certainly of you know, our operations. Although we're making large things, we're making bikes. I think one challenge is that many of the companies in the 3D printing space are deeply technology, and many are R&D oriented. The mentality is very R&D. You know, you got a lot of PhDs running around who, you know, have great ideas. But when you're doing a highly scaled manufacturing operation, it's just a completely different mentality, you know. And you're trying to marry these two worlds. It's really hard, you know. And so there's just inherently a lot of mindset melding challenges between this as we look at the different, just even within our own company, just matching these skill sets and perspectives to build something pretty profoundly different. I mean, you know, in our industry, it's like, you know, take the bike industry. You know, we've been making, I mean, composite frames are cool. They're newish, but they're not that new. People have been working on them since, I think, the 60s. But it's all thermoset composites, you know, sheets of stuff, autoclave, lots of post-processing steps. And coming in saying, yeah, we don't have any molds or glue or bolts or anything like that. We just print them, and it's composite. It's an anisotropic material as well, obviously, right? So the direction of the fibers really, you know, deeply matter, affect the performance. And so it's, I don't know, there's, it's really exciting. We're really at the edge, like the beginning of truly something. Look, we were there when, you know, like in the mid 90s when the internet was like, you know, getting going. You're like, and you could smell it in the air, like, wow, there's something big happening. And then when MySpace came out, I don't know, and Friendster, I don't know if you guys remember that, you know, in the 2000s. Wow, something's going to happen here. And then social media was born, and then media streaming. I mean, and it smells like that right now in additive manufacturing. Like, finally there are industries being born that are at scale, like dental. What an awesome application. Like, you have to have mass customization. You can't possibly not have mass customization and have a company, you know. How cool is that? Yeah.
No, it is. It truly feels very exciting in the past couple of years in additive, that there's just so many more applications coming to market. But Sonny, I think you were hitting up on a really interesting point as well, in terms of we have two models of bringing new exciting products to market. One model is building a brand new company, specifically around this mask customization proposition, around additive proposition, or we have companies who are building in parallel production lines, or maybe trying to bring expertise who have been used to creating products more from a traditional perspective. And of course, the question is, which approach is more challenging? Is it more challenging to build a brand new company around additive, around mask customization, or is it more challenging to open up a personalization vertical within an existing company?
Well, I'll just a quick comment there is that I'll say it depends on the person doing it, you know, and
on
the
company or the person who is driving the project.
Yeah, either one, just the people involved in taking whichever approach that that you've mentioned. Yeah, I mean, you know, you got people who know consumer, people who know business, you know, but it's just the thing is it's very new, so you're encountering a lot of wait, how do you do this? You know, like when you talk to people in the bike industry, they're like, wait, how do you not have a mold and you make a composite part? And how do you make that unibody? Like we got monocoque frames, like, yeah, you know, that's different. So, yeah.
And Meagan, I'm going to call on you again because I know you have more background before starting Sugar Cubes, and you have maybe a little bit more perspective on this as well. I was wondering if you had anything to add.
I think that there's a lot of value in somebody coming from the traditional end of it and bringing 3D printing in as it makes sense, because then you don't have you're not trying to shoehorn something that just doesn't fit. You have more options to know exactly what is the best economics, the best product, the material performance. So I've worked with companies that are very particular. I mean, they are focused completely on the end product performance, and it doesn't matter what technology gets there. And so in that fashion, you know, I think there's value for the consumer then, because you know you're getting the best product. And obviously for those technologies like my own and Drew's or products that you can't get this product without 3D printing. Now you have a whole new challenge. And in our case, my challenge to scale, which I should mention, we just opened up our kitchen at the end of last year, end of 2020. So I'm not at mass volume and scaling quite yet. I'm laying the foundation for that. And one of my the things that I think are the right things to be doing, which I'll tell you in a year or two, but is to really fully understand my costs now, the waste, and focusing on creating quality processes that can be replicated at different sites and scaled. So those are the two top priorities for us. Understand costs, drive them down, and make high quality, repeatable processes. And then once we are able to, I'm hoping that works out. But if it doesn't, then I am like in a world of hurt at that point. So anyway.
Well, last year was challenging for everybody, and the world, it feels like, is a brand new opportunity. And now that people are becoming more and more vaccinated, and I have faith in your product myself, so I'm excited to see all the exciting developments coming up in the next year. But Alireza, I'll jump to you a little bit because, of course, the mass personalization, mass customization has been part of what you have been working with for quite a few years. So I'm wondering, kind of restating that question to you, is if you can look back upon the journey that you've gone through, what were the key to scaling up this mass personalization applications?
Honestly, a lot of things were said already, but let me start from the start. In 2014, I started focusing on collaborating with designers and creating a community of designers. And this has become an industry by itself, but it's not enough. So I think the first step is educating designers to be able to design for additive manufacturing. And this is not only for wearables application, also if you want to scale up things like spare parts, you need to have designers of components to design for additive manufacturing to go to the next step. And then everything that Drew said was true. So obviously you need better materials, you need to get your machines under control. Post-processing is a pain, and everybody that is listening knows that, but I mean, that's optimization. And also I agree with Sonny, this is a mindset shift within companies like Materialise, where we are trying to create, and this is the second step, a space, I would call it a safe space for experimentation and learning by the industry to be able to, you know, run their series. And these series have gone, now we print hundreds of thousands of customized parts. But the last part, but not the least, is, and that I call it scaling quality, because mass production, you are producing the same product and doing quality control on you know, the same product. Here, our challenge is that we're producing hundreds of thousands of individualized parts, and we have to do quality control on them. It's not just managing the processes, and you know, you need MES systems like Link 3D provides, but at the end of the process, you need to do the quality control to be able to satisfy the end customers in the right way. And that is I think, the third challenge towards scaling up.
No, that is a fantastic point. It's creating even maybe new quality control protocols and procedures to address the individualized products. And I think that brings us right into the questions from the audience. And that was actually the first question, the most voted questions that we have received, is what is the biggest challenge to solve to go to mass volume, to mass production? The acknowledging that SmileDirect is already at high volume, in parentheses. So Alireza, I love your perspective that quality is something that we really need to look at. Drew, what do you think is the biggest challenge to solve? As I'm sure you guys are continuing to grow and to scale.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, we kind of addressed this some earlier, but just, you know, kind of, it's not necessarily one gigantic hurdle. It's just every link in your process, you're going to, you know, hit bottlenecks, and from like file prep, file design, right? Like even just if you're making a ton of, like, you know, hundreds of thousands of something, getting those files prepared through, you know, Magix or otherwise is actually challenging. You need people for that, and you need, you know, equipment for it. You need to make sure that everything is, you kind of have developed a workflow and procedures for all of these aspects, because, you know, once the fire hose is turned on, you're getting all these scans in, like it doesn't turn off. So you need to be prepared for that. And then, you know, once you're printing, yeah, you have the machine reliability. It's just like every piece you're going to have to solve at whatever scale you're at. So it's hard to say like there's one gigantic challenge. I do think the cultural thing that Sonny talked about, or the mentality, very much, yeah. Like I'm on the R&D side. I love 3D printing. I always, you know, that's what I love. So that's what I do. But on our production guys, you know, they don't care. They just want the machines to work. And that's the only thing that matters, really, so that the parts come out good and the machines work. Like, so it's a different way of looking at things. So for me, I get really excited every time I'm in the, you know, that printing lab. But some of the guys are not. They're like, oh, well, this machine's down. We need to do this maintenance, and, you know, so yeah.
Very cool.
I'd say the big challenge is just getting the unit economics to work, because it generally doesn't work. Okay, like 3D printing machines are really expensive. The materials are really expensive. Operating costs are super high, because you're doing it in the West, high labor costs places. It's Tennessee, not Cambodia, right?
Oh yeah.
You have like labor laws and stuff, right? So
Yeah.
the mention that and you have and cost of capital. A lot of these companies are earlier stage companies, and so I mean, I hate to say it, but just to call it out, there have been no explosively successful additive manufacturing or 3D printing companies. There are no decacorns. There's no $100 billion. I mean, we've been doing this for 30 years. I mean, the people have been doing 3D printing for 30 years. Where is our decacorn and $50 billion company? They don't exist. Or, or I mean, maybe, some have gone and done SPACs and financial engineering to get that great value. But and so what's exciting is I think they will be created in the next decade or so. And that's what's exciting. That's why it's like, finally, we have the hardware, the computational technologies, and to make the material, to get it cheaper, but we're just not there yet. It's just because when you compare, just think about it from a dollars per kilogram of finished parts. Now there are industries like dental, which I think it never ceases to amaze me, because of course you have to do additive, but like if you look at like auto parts or something, good luck trying to compete against traditional industries. They will crush you in terms of cost levels. Or plastic, if you want to make, I don't know, jars or something. I don't know. I mean, good luck. But I mean, the plastic injection molding is so efficient that it's just gonna be very tough to beat. And so we got to pick our battles wisely. We have to get our capex down. We've got to get our materials costs down, like way down, like an order of magnitude. Or we have to find like crazy compelling value propositions like dental, because like you have to use machines and computers to do that. You can't have people like making these things by hand, right?
They used to.
I know, unbelievable, and so that's like a very obvious value proposition. So how can we find more of these very compelling value propositions, like must-haves, and at the same time get the unit economics down? And that's how this industry is going to be created, I think.
Yeah,
but I'm the new guy here, so
at volume, like
that's a great thing.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, please do.
I was gonna say, at volume, if you're competing with injection molding at volume and it's just like a same part, you're going to lose every time. It's more efficient process, just like Sonny said.
Not even close.
Yeah. So you wouldn't want to, right? It's like, oh, you're going to choose the thing that's better for you. So you're right. The unspoken challenge, I guess, is like, it makes sense in the first place, because if it doesn't, then you're not even going to pick additive. It has to make sense.
Right, and also the incumbent technologies are much more competitive. People say, well, we can go to market faster. We can just instant on print, hyperlocal market, manufacturing. Good luck, man. Like, hard tools now, they used to take 10 weeks to make.
Yeah, Protolabs will turn you apart in 3 days.
Yeah, you can make them in days now. Hard tools that put out, a million parts, right? Yeah,
those are excellent points. Those are excellent points. And as we're comparing additive to more traditionally established manufacturing technologies, this next question is actually a great point, because one of the advantages of traditionally established manufacturing processes are standards. And the question we have is, where do you see the role of standards in the consumer product segment, inclusive of UL and others? I would assume in the mass customization vertical.
Yeah. My industry is one of those industries where you have to follow standards. Obviously, also medical industry is a toughly regulated. But typically, for mass customized parts, you don't need to necessarily follow standards. That is the norm today. But on all other things where we do serial production, we need to follow European guidelines, or if we produce for the United States market, we need to be following the FDA rules, because eyewear is a medical product. And that is, I just wanted to say this, that is the comment I gave earlier. We are moving additive manufacturing from what is a general purpose, put any part on a machine and print it out, to making it application specific, means that you really need to tune down the machine to do what you want it to do. And that's not easy, because you need to tune every single machine, and every build needs to be the same, and all of your post-processing. So I think that sounds familiar to Drew, but yeah, that's what you need to do to comply with the norms, because your products get tested, obviously, and then you get certification, and then you can bring them to.
And I know food industry is quite heavily regulated as well. So I don't know if this is something, standards has been something you've run against, Meagan.
Oh, absolutely. That was the thing that kept this out, 3D printing kind of out of this space at this level for so long, is that the equipment needs to be NSF certified, food safe certifications for a commercial kitchen. We had to follow, we have to be approved and certified for whatever county that we are in. So LA County Health Department, certified and approved to operate there under all of their guidelines. FDA, certainly a lot of, and everybody should be happy, right? Because you want to eat this knowing it's safe. And so that's great. Traceable, the lot, batch codes, everything is very precise and trackable for good reason. But yes, it's plays a very big role, and it's very important. I'm happy to comply.
Well, hopefully standards is something that will help the industry to align against certain norms, and will help to build consumer confidence in the products that are created. I hope all of you will agree. Okay, and I have next question. We have about 3 minutes left, so I have a really good question, which is, how does digital solutions support mass personalization? Which I think it's not a leading question, but I come from a perspective of providing a software solution to enable mass customization. What do you guys think about digital solutions and mass personalization?
I think convergence of digital imaging technology like 3D scanning and automized design software tools, and also digital manufacturing, but definitely together with MES systems will have to join together to create what you call mass personalization. When you have these aligned, you have an end-to-end digital system that would support mass personalization.
And hopefully quality control being part of that digital thread.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely critical to keep costs down, to ensure high quality. So as I mentioned before, we like to design stock pieces that can be personalized, and to really hit that mass volume, we need something digital that to really enable that to be done in a way that is not manual, and then follow all the way through, and an MES solution that makes sure that specific product ships to the right person. I think that there are solutions all along that workflow that are critical for scaling.
And any parting words to add to this, Drew and Sonny?
Yeah, I would say that mass customization, you need a digital solution. Like there's, pretty much either that, or you've got a ton of, people at their computer or physically modifying parts, which doesn't scale very well. So it's kind of one thing, it requires the other. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Look, additive manufacturing promises faster time to market, mass customization, lack of no inventory, a number of these things. Mass customization being one of the most interesting things, and using digital, websites and stuff like that, apps, tools to help people navigate through what they want, what they're going to create, is key to actually making it work. I mean, what are you going to do? Sit around and have stores that people go into and measure people, or ask you, like it's going to have to be, it has to be these tools. So yeah, that's an inherent part of. It's like saying, are you going to use computers? Of course.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, everybody. Really enjoyed the conversation with you today. And thank you again, Janet and Link3D, for organizing this. And Janet, you're back with us.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for participating today and sharing your knowledge, your know-how. We hope this inspires more people in industry to consider developing mass personalization applications to support, better customer experiences so we can all be delighted. Looking forward to Sugar Lab products, Meagan. Wearing some glasses from your efforts, Alireza. My husband just got some aligners. Great job, Drew and Sonny. We all need to buy some scooters, and we all need to buy some Superstrata bikes. So do go onto their website. Apparently
Sonny, could I get a discount?
Absolutely, man. Hit me up.
All right, cool.
If you all want to give some promo codes, we'll happy to share this with the people that signed up.
Yeah, Meagan, I'm getting married in a year, so definitely going to hit up Sugar Lab as well.
Yes, okay.
And if anybody has brand new mass customization ideas they would like to bring to market, please reach out to Twikit. I'll be happy to talk to you.
Yeah. And today we fell on a lot of amazing topics, so thank you so much. As a quick summary, you guys all mentioned that there are so many benefits for enabling mass customization experiences, from sustainability, having circular economy built into the additive manufacturing production, like we saw with SmileDirect, and how they turn their plastic molds into pellets for reuse, how we can save on costs, save on materials. And this is very sustainable, as we see with the eyewear industry, and how this could be economically viable as the main source of manufacturing operations, and also providing experiences for your end users with partial designing of the product. And that brings us to the topic of co-creation, how you can enable users and designers to work together. But also we realize, humans might not always be the best designers. So like Sonny mentioned, guiding them with a sense of choice so that they can journey through their unique buying experience as well. And what's really exciting with scaling up is knowing what are the considerations. So as you guys are scaling up, just a quick reminder, you want to look at how can you create a pool of talent, access community of designers that can help scale up these visionary ideas, how to provide a safe environment for production at scale, how to look at quality enablement, not only quality for the process, control, people, and what have you, but also standards like getting NSF certified, being food safe, FDA approval, working with your local county. There's a lot of considerations that have to be met there, along with how you take advantage of scale on labor cost. Things don't always have to be made in North America. Maybe you can have it made in Cambodia or Vietnam with Sonny, as an example, at AREVO. And how you can also explore different ways to add value to the customer. And last but not least, we also covered how digital solutions can enable on the end user on so many fronts, from imaging technology, like Alireza mentioned. Today, you have LiDAR technology from your phone. Really excited to see what that might mean for the end user. Automated design tools like we see with Twikit, digital workflows that Link3D provides, along with other types of workflow solutions that can help automate all those handoffs that Drew mentioned, from build prep to handing things off, from machine printing to post-processing, and finally delivery. So thank you everyone here for joining our discussion today and adding value to the conversation. I'm sure a lot of people took away a lot from it. So If you guys have any last words before we jump over to the virtual networking portion of the event, before we launch the next panel.
Big thanks for everybody for joining, and great to have this discussion. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having us.
Paulina.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you all.
Bye.
Bye.